We will get you the latest on that breaking news story as and when we receive more information. But time now for the big focus here on your story. Just weeks before a second summit between US President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, experts have made a startling revelation. According to a report by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, one of the 20 undeclared ballistic missile operating bases in North Korea serves as a missile headquarters. The report says that Sino-Ri base has never been declared by North Korea, and as a result, the site hasn't appeared in the denuclearization negotiations. The Sino-Ri complex is a 7-square-mile base located 132 miles north of the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea. The report adds that the base plays a key role in developing ballistic missiles capable of reaching South Korea, Japan, and even the US territory of Guam in the Western Pacific. The report adds that satellite images of the base from the 27th of December last year show an entrance to an underground bunker, reinforced shelters, and a headquarters. The discovery has cast doubts on North Korea's intentions as officials met in Sweden this week to discuss arrangements of a second Trump-Kim summit. The much anticipated meeting is expected to be held in Vietnam sometime at the end of the month of February. In the first summit with Trump, Kim had vowed to work towards the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, even though there wasn't a clear agreement with regard to what the terms of denuclearization entailed. However, after more than 6 months since the first summit, no concrete progress has been made.
Well, like you mentioned, this is not the first report we've heard about undisclosed ballistic missile facilities within North Korea. This latest report points to one called the Sino-Ri missile base, and apparently it's one of 20 undisclosed bases. When some reports came out last year, Washington and South Korea, Seoul, were quick to say that their intelligence authorities were well aware of these bases and well aware of ongoing missile development in North Korea, and that would not specifically impede the process for nuclear negotiations. They made it clear that these bases and not all of North Korea's weapons facilities were tenets of the declarations reached during nuclear talks last year, so it seems like they would push forward. However, there is concern in Washington that this may be North Korea perhaps playing games. It will be willing to give up certain facilities and destroy certain testing grounds while maintaining secrecy among many others. And ultimately, unless international inspectors are allowed into North Korea, it's hard to imagine that there will be full confidence in Washington that they can trust North Korea in a negotiating setting when it comes to the ultimate goal, the promise of giving up nuclear weapons.
Time now for all the latest from the World Economic Forum that is getting underway in the snowy, hilly town of Davos in Switzerland. As setting tone for the opening of the World Economic Forum, the International Monetary Fund has come out with a grim warning. The IMF has warned that the risks of a sharper slowdown in global economic growth have increased. It has warned that the biggest known risks are the ongoing US-China trade war and the possibility of a no-deal Brexit. The IMF has cut its world economic growth forecasts for the year 2019 and 2020. The forecast has been cut by 3.5% for 2019 and 3.6% for 2020. This means that the forecast is 0.2% lower for this year and 0.1% lower for 2020 as compared to last October's projections. This is its second downgrade in 3 months.
The bottom line is that after 2 years of solid expansion, the world economy is growing more slowly than expected, and risks are rising. But even as the economy continues to move ahead, as I said, it is facing significantly higher risks, some of them actually related to policy. And these risks are increasingly intertwined.
Meanwhile, IMF's downgrade also reflects signs of weakness in Europe. A no-deal Brexit could worsen market turbulence.
A no-deal Brexit is one of the major risks to our forecast. Our forecast incorporate a smooth transition, that a deal is actually made, and that there is a smooth transition to the new setup. But if there is a disruptive exit, or there is continued uncertainty for many more months, both of those are going to weigh negatively on growth going forward. And I think it is imperative for the leaders to resolve this uncertainty immediately.
Even as the world continues to slow down, the IMF has said that India's economy will pick up pace this year. It's expected to benefit from lower crude oil prices and an easing of inflation. India's GDP is forecast to grow 7.5% in the financial year 2020 and 7.7% in the financial year 2021. So the IMF has said that global growth is rising at a healthy rate, but the momentum is slowing and that the risks are on the rise. Here is a breakdown of the predictions by the Global Economic Agency. World is one. Sumicha Trivedi caught up with the former governor of the Reserve Bank of India, Raghuram Rajan, at the World Economic Forum in Davos. It's an exclusive conversation in which he spoke about the IMF report cutting the growth forecast for the year 2019 and 2020. Listen in.
How's been the World Economic Forum so far for you, sir?
I think it's just started, so not much has happened so far. We'll, see what people say, what people think. It's a process of discussion and debate.
And sir, global economy, it looks like there's some dark clouds over there. Yesterday's IMF report also said. What's your assessment over there?
Well, I have no reason to differ from the IMF. There's broadly strength in the underlying economy, but there are some clouds. Certainly China's underperforming relative to the past, and in the US there are issues like the government shutdown, so we have to wait and see.
Now we also caught up with the CEO of India's IT giant Wipro, Abid Ali Neemuchwala, and he has contradicted the IMF report, saying that numbers don't really show an economic slowdown. Take a look.
So first thing about the World Economic Forum, what's your response to that, sir?
I think like every year, there are very relevant topics that are being discussed. It's just warming up. Today is the first day. I think globalization 4.0 is very relevant. It gives a good forum to openly discuss some of the things in closed room sessions. So I'm liking it.
There are dark clouds of maybe slowdown hovering over the global economy. What is your plan? Because many of the clients are definitely, will be impacted by that.
So, I'm an optimist. We don't see impact right now. I just worry that we should not talk ourselves into a slowdown or a recession. If you look at the financial numbers, none of them right now are indicating to a slowdown. Rather, last year the world economy has grown at one of the fastest paces. The US economy has done very well. The Indian economy has done well. Most of the top economies, continental Europe, Japan has started growing up at a relatively faster pace after a very long time. So I am an optimist. We'll always be watchful and we should be prepared for the worst. But right now I don't see dark clouds as such.
One last question on the Indian IT sector. What's your outlook for this current financial year?
I think the Indian IT sector has always been able to navigate any of the transformations. And I think as a sector, we are doing quite well navigating the digital transformation. Wipro itself has been named as the top 5 digital brands, and it's now within the top 10 global IT services brands. So I think we are doing well, and I think the entire industry is poised for undergoing this transformation very well.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving your time.
Thank you.
This is my third World Economic Forum, and I can tell you that crises have never been so much in the world and the attendance thin as compared to the earlier years. But yes, there are crises looming large over the world economies. Politics is there. Well, the WEF Davos is meant to bring together politicians and businessmen to solve the problems. But it looks like the discussions will start today. Overall, if we talk about the World Economic Forum this time, there's a wave of pessimism because CEOs across the world are concerned about issues like global trade wars, also issues like the growing tensions between many nations, including the economic problems in Venezuela and Colombia. So these issues are there. There's dark clouds of these problems over the world economy. At the same time, Indian CEOs are quite optimistic because India is having a very positive momentum. It's a bright spot. It's in bright spot when compared to other parts of the world. So Indian CEOs are quite optimistic about their overall economy growth. The only concern they have here is the election year because they want to know who is going to come next so that they can plan their investments better. But overall, it's been a mixed response. Today is the first day, and going forward, we will be able to speak to executives, both global and Indians, and will know better the sense of economy and what they think about economy as a whole.
Keeping it with Chinese, a Chinese scientist who claimed to have created the world's first genetically edited babies will now face a Chinese police investigation. This, as authorities have confirmed that a second woman fell pregnant during the same experiment. He Jiankui shocked the scientific community and the world last year after announcing that he had successfully altered the genes of twin girls, Lulu and Nana, born in November, to prevent them from contracting HIV. He had told the Human Genome Forum in Hong Kong in late November that there had been another potential pregnancy involving a second couple. Now, a provincial government in China, that of the Guangdong province, has investigated him and has confirmed the existence of the second mother and that the woman was still pregnant. The expected mother and the twin girls from the first pregnancy will be now put under medical observation. According to state news agency Xinhua, the provincial government probe found that He Jiankui had forged ethical review papers and deliberately evaded supervision. They say that he privately organized a project team that included foreign staff and used technology that was unsafe for illegal human embryo gene editing. Investigators have said that the scientist was pursuing personal fame and used self-raised funds for the controversial experiment. Details of the experiment, which has not been independently verified, triggered an immediate backlash from the global scientific community and the Chinese government, which ordered a halt to He Jiankui's research days after he publicly announced that 2 genetically edited babies have been born. Such gene editing work is banned in most countries, including China.